I, Alpha Rowan, reject you. The words slammed into Alara's chest before she could even breathe. Gasps erupted across the hall. Hundreds of wolves watched as their Luna, dropped to her knees. No, oh please, her voice broke. Just this morning he had kissed her. Just this morning he had called her his. But now his eyes were cold and empty. A Luna who cannot give me an heir, Rowan said, his voice echoing through the hall, is no Luna of mine. Laughter, whispers. Humiliation. Alara's wolf screamed inside her. Her heart shattered as the bond between them began to tear, and then a deep, terrifying growl echoed from the palace doors. The entire hall froze. The doors creaked open. And a voice darker than thunder said, "Interesting." Heavy footsteps followed. Why does my mate smell like another alpha's rejection? Chapter 1. The whisper started softly. At first it moved like wind through dry leaves. Then it grew louder. 3 years. Still no pup. Maybe the moon goddess cursed her. Alara kept her head high as she walked through the grand hall of the Silvercrest Pack mansion, pretending she could not hear the murmurs. The long marble corridor stretched before her, glowing under the golden chandeliers that hung from the high ceiling. Every step she took echoed across the polished floor. But the whispers followed her. They always did. 3 years. 3 long years since she had stood beside Alpha Rowan during the full moon ceremony and accepted the Luna crown. 3 years since the moon goddess bound their souls together as mates. 3 years and still no child. Alara forced a gentle smile as she passed a group of pack members. "Good evening," she greeted softly. Some bowed their heads respectfully. Others only nodded. A few looked away. She knew what they were thinking. A Luna who could not give birth to an heir was a weakness to the pack. And weakness was something wolves did not forgive easily. Alara reached the large council doors and paused. Her fingers trembled slightly as she touched the carved wood. Inside that room were the elders, the pack leaders, and Alpha Rowan himself. Tonight's council meeting had been called urgently. And deep in her chest something felt wrong. Her wolf shifted uneasily. "Something is coming," it whispered inside her mind. Alara inhaled slowly before pushing the doors open. The room fell silent. Every eye turned toward her. The long council table was filled with powerful wolves, warriors, advisors, elders who had served the pack for decades. At the head of the table sat Alpha Rowan. Tall, commanding, and beautiful in the terrifying way only an alpha could be. His dark hair was perfectly combed back, his sharp jawline tense under the flickering candlelight. His black alpha cloak draped over his broad shoulders like a crown of power. Once, the sight of him had made Alara's heart race with love. Tonight, something in his expression made her stomach twist. Cold, distant, and almost irritated. Alara approached slowly and stood beside him, the place that belonged to the Luna. But Rowan did not look at her. Not even once. That small detail felt like a knife sliding under her ribs. One of the elders cleared his throat. "Alpha Rowan," the old wolf began carefully, "the council has gathered tonight to discuss an urgent matter regarding the future of the Silvercrest Pack." Alara folded her hands together politely. She already knew where this conversation was going. The elder continued. "Our pack has always been strong because our bloodline remains powerful. Every alpha must secure the future of the pack through a strong heir." A few of the council members nodded in agreement. Alara felt the familiar weight pressing against her chest. Her throat tightened. The elder looked at her for a brief moment before turning back to Rowan. "It has been 3 years since Luna Alara joined this pack as your mate." Silence filled the room. 3 years. The words felt heavier every time someone said them. The elder continued slowly. "And yet no pup has been born." The whisper spread across the table like a disease. Alara kept her gaze steady, but inside her wolf whimpered painfully. She had prayed every night. She had visited healers. She had drunk every herbal remedy they suggested. She had begged the moon goddess for a child. But her womb remained empty. And the pack had begun to notice. The elder spoke again. "Alpha Rowan, the council must ask what every wolf in this pack is already wondering." He paused. Then said the words that made Alara's heart stop. "Is Luna Alara capable of giving you an heir?" The room held its breath. Alara finally turned toward Rowan. "Her mate. Her alpha." The man who once held her hands beneath the moonlight and promised they would build a family together. He still had not looked at her. Instead, Rowan leaned back slowly in his chair, his expression unreadable. The silence stretched. Then he finally spoke. His voice was calm and cold, and completely devoid of affection. That is the problem. Alara's heart dropped. She stared at him in disbelief. The elder frowned slightly. Alpha. Rowan stood slowly from his chair. His presence immediately filled the entire room. Power rolled off him like a storm. Every wolf lowered their head instinctively except Alara. He could not move. Rowan turned his sharp gaze toward the council. 3 years, he repeated. His voice echoed through the chamber. I gave my Luna 3 years to prove herself worthy of the title she carries. Alara's breath caught in her throat. Prove herself? Rowan finally looked at her. But the warmth that once lived in his eyes was gone. Completely gone. What remained was disappointment. And something worse. Embarrassment. He looked at her like she was a mistake. The humiliation burned her skin. Alara, Rowan said flatly. The way he spoke her name felt unfamiliar. Like she was no longer someone important to him. Her voice came out quietly. Yes, my alpha. Rowan studied her for a long moment. Then he turned back to the council. Aluna's duty is simple. His voice grew colder with every word. She protects the pack. She strengthens the bloodline. And most importantly, his gaze flickered briefly toward her stomach. She gives the alpha an heir. Alara felt the world tilting beneath her feet. Rowan's next words cut deeper than any blade. And yet my Luna has failed in the most basic duty of all. Gasps filled the council room. One of the female elders looked horrified. Alpha Rowan, she said quickly, perhaps the moon goddess simply requires more time. Rowan raised his hand. The room fell silent immediately. No, he said firmly. His golden alpha eyes turned toward Alara again. And for the first time since she entered the room he truly looked at her. But there was no love in that gaze. Only irritation. Time is not the problem. His voice lowered. It is her. The words struck her like thunder. Alara's chest tightened painfully. Hi Alpha, she whispered weakly. But Rowan continued speaking as if she had not spoken at all. The Silvercrest pack cannot afford weakness. His voice grew louder. Every pack in the north watches us. Every rival waits for a moment of vulnerability. He turned slowly toward the council. A Luna who cannot produce an heir makes our pack appear fragile. The elders shifted uncomfortably. Some looked ashamed. Others looked thoughtful. And a few agreed. Alara felt their judgment pressing down on her like chains. Her wolf whimpered again. He would not do this, her wolf pleaded weakly. He loves us, but Rowan's next words shattered that hope. He stepped closer to her. So close she could feel the cold power radiating from his body. His voice dropped into something sharp. Something cruel. Perhaps the moon goddess made a mistake. Alara blinked. Her heart skipped. Am I alpha? Rowan's gaze hardened. Perhaps, he said slowly, the moon goddess bound me to a barren mate. The words sliced through the room like a blade. Shock exploded across the council table. Several wolves stood up instantly. Alpha Rowan. You cannot say such things. But Alara heard none of them. Her ears rang, her chest felt hollow. The mate bond between them trembled violently. Pain spread through her wolf like poison. She stared at Rowan, her eyes filling with tears she refused to let fall. You don't mean that, she whispered. For a brief moment, something flickered in Rowan's expression. Guilt. But it vanished quickly. His voice returned to ice. The future of this pack comes before everything. Alara felt something inside her crack. The council chamber suddenly felt too small. Too suffocating. She realized something terrifying. Rowan was not defending her. He was condemning her. In front of everyone. The elder spoke again carefully. Alpha Rowan, what exactly are you suggesting? Rowan looked around the room. Then he spoke the words that would change everything. If my Luna cannot give this pack an heir. His voice echoed against the walls. Then perhaps it is time Silvercrest finds a Luna who can. The entire room froze. Alara's breath stopped. Her wolf screamed inside her soul. And in that moment, for the first time in 3 years, she realized something horrifying. Her mate was preparing to replace her. Chapter 2. The silence in the council chamber became suffocating. For several long seconds no one moved. No one breathed. The words Alpha Rowan had spoken still hung in the air like a curse. Perhaps it is time Silvercrest finds a Luna who can. Elara stood frozen beside him, her body numb, her heart pounding violently against her ribs. Her wolf whimpered deep inside her mind. He didn't mean that, he couldn't. But the cold distance in Rowan's eyes told her otherwise. Around the council table murmurs began to rise. Quiet at first, then louder. The elders exchanged uneasy glances. Some looked at Elara with sympathy. Others studied her with the calculating eyes of wolves who valued strength above emotion. Finally, the eldest council member, Elder Magnus, leaned forward. His long silver hair fell across his shoulders as his aged eyes fixed on Rowan. Alpha Rowan, Magnus said carefully, removing a Luna is not a decision to make lightly. The mate bond between you and Luna Elara was blessed by the moon goddess herself. Rowan's expression remained unreadable. The moon goddess also blesses the survival of the pack, he replied calmly. Magnus frowned. Still, 3 years is not a long time for a Luna to conceive. Many she-wolves require longer. A few council members nodded in agreement. Hope flickered weakly in Elara's chest. But Rowan crushed it with a single sentence. I have already given her enough time. The room fell silent again. Elara felt her stomach twist painfully. Her hands trembled at her sides, but she forced herself to stand tall. She was Luna. Even if the title was slipping from her fingers. She would not beg. Not here. Not in front of them. Another elder spoke, a sharp-faced woman named Elder Valeria. And what exactly are you proposing, Alpha? She asked. Rowan stepped forward slowly. The candlelight reflected in his golden alpha eyes. Silvercrest cannot afford uncertainty, he said firmly. Our rivals are watching us. The Northfang pack already grows stronger. The Ironclaw pack has produced 3 alpha heirs in the past 2 years. His gaze moved around the room. And we have none. His final words landed heavily. Elara could feel dozens of eyes drifting toward her. Her chest tightened painfully. He had tried. She had tried everything. She remembered the endless visits to the pack healer. The bitter herbs she had swallowed every morning. The nights she had cried alone beneath the moon, begging the moon goddess to bless her with a child. But none of that mattered now. To them there was only one truth. She had failed. Rowan's voice cut through the room again. A Luna's greatest responsibility is to secure the future of the Alpha bloodline. He paused. Then said quietly, Elara has not fulfilled that responsibility. The words hit her harder than she expected. Her wolf whimpered again. Why is he doing this to us? Elara's throat burned. She finally spoke. My Alpha, may I speak? The room turned toward her. Rowan studied her silently for a moment. Then he gave a small nod. Speak. Elara drew in a slow breath. Her voice was calm but her hands trembled. I understand the council's concern, she began softly. The future of the pack is important. More important than any single wolf. She glanced around the room. I have never denied that. Her gaze returned to Rowan. But I have done everything the healer has asked of me. Her voice cracked slightly. I have prayed to the moon goddess every night. A few of the council members shifted uncomfortably. I would give anything to give this pack an heir, she continued quietly. And if the moon goddess has not blessed me yet, then perhaps she simply asks for patience. For a moment the room was silent. Some of the elders looked thoughtful. Others seemed conflicted. But Rowan did not. His face remained cold and immovable. You misunderstand the situation, he said flatly. Elara blinked. Why Alpha? Rowan turned to face her fully now. And something in his expression made her heart drop. This is not about patience. The words fell like stones. It is about reality. Elara felt the air leave her lungs. Rowan's next words were even colder. You have had 3 years. 3 full years to prove your worth as Luna. The humiliation burned across her skin. Prove her worth? Was that truly how he saw her now? Not as his mate. Not as the woman he once loved. But as a failure. A test she had not passed. Across the table, Elder Magnus spoke again. Alpha Rowan, the Luna has served this pack faithfully. Removing her could cause unrest among the members. Rowan shrugged slightly. Wolves respect strength. His gaze hardened. And strength requires difficult decisions. Alara's heart pounded louder. Something terrible was coming. He could feel it. Rowan turned toward the council again. If Alara cannot fulfill the duties of Luna, then the pack must prepare for a successor. The words sent a ripple of shock across the room. Several wolves gasped. Others leaned forward eagerly. Alara felt the ground beneath her feet disappear. Successor. He had already decided. This was not a discussion. This was an announcement. A young council member spoke hesitantly. Alpha Rowan, are you suggesting choosing another mate? Rowan's silence was answer enough. The room erupted into whispers. Alara's chest tightened painfully. Her wolf howled in agony. He cannot do this. He's our mate. But Rowan's gaze never softened. He did not even look at her now. Instead, he addressed the council with the calm authority of a ruler. If Silvercrest is to remain the strongest pack in the north, we must secure our future. Elder Valeria narrowed her eyes. And who exactly would replace Luna Alara? Rowan hesitated. Just for a second. But Alara noticed. Her heart skipped. Because she suddenly realized something. This was not a sudden idea. He had already thought about it. Perhaps even chosen someone. The realization made her stomach churn. Before Rowan could answer, the council chamber doors creaked open. Every head turned. A young woman stepped into the room. She was beautiful. Tall and confident. Her dark hair fell smoothly over her shoulders, and her amber wolf eyes gleamed with quiet satisfaction. Alara felt her breath catch. Lyra. Her cousin. Lyra bowed respectfully. Forgive the interruption, Alpha, she said smoothly. I was told the council meeting had begun. Her gaze flickered briefly toward Alara. And in that single glance, Alara saw it. The smirk hidden behind her polite smile. Suddenly everything made sense. The rumors. The whispers. The strange way Rowan had begun distancing himself from her months ago. A cold realization spread through Alara's chest. This had been planned. Rowan finally spoke again. Lyra, he said calmly, you may join us. Lyra walked gracefully toward the council table. Her steps were slow. She stopped on Rowan's other side. Exactly where Luna would stand. The room grew tense. Several elders exchanged uncomfortable looks. But Rowan did not move away from her. Alara felt something inside her break. Lyra spoke sweetly. I hope I did not miss anything important. Rowan's voice remained steady. We were discussing the future of the pack. Lyra tilted her head slightly. And the matter of the Luna? Her words were innocent. But her eyes glittered. Alara's heart pounded painfully. Rowan did not answer immediately. Instead he looked at Alara again. But this time there was no hesitation in his voice. No decision has been made yet. The word echoed loudly in Alara's mind. She could feel it. The pack council was not discussing whether she should remain Luna. They were deciding when she would be replaced. Alara swallowed the lump in her throat. Her wolf felt weaker than ever. But she refused to cry. Not here or in front of Lyra and not in front of Rowan. Because deep in her chest something else was beginning to grow. But the first quiet spark of something dangerous. If Rowan truly planned to cast her aside, then the moon goddess was about to decide whose mistake that truly was. Chapter 3. The moon was full, bright and unforgiving. It hung high above the Silvercrest pack like a silent witness, as if the moon goddess herself had come to watch what was about to happen. Alara stood at the center of the ceremonial grounds, her white Luna gown flowing gently in the cold night wind. The fabric shimmered under the moonlight, but it felt heavy against her skin like chains. Around her the entire pack had gathered. Hundreds of wolves, warriors, elders, mothers holding their children close. Young wolves whispering behind trembling hands. All of them had come to see it. Her fall. A raised stone platform stood before her, carved with ancient symbols of the moon goddess. Torches burned on either side, their flames dancing violently as if even the fire could sense the tension in the air. This was where Luna bonds were blessed. And where they were broken. Alara's chest rose and fell slowly. Her wolf was restless and afraid. This is wrong, it whispered. Something is wrong. But Alara already knew that. She had known since the moment Rowan looked at her in the council chamber. Like she was nothing. A sudden hush fell over the crowd. Then the ground seemed to tremble as Alpha Rowan stepped onto the platform. Dressed in black ceremonial armor, he looked every bit the powerful alpha the pack revered. His golden eyes scanned the crowd briefly before settling on Alara. There was no warmth in them. Alara felt her heart crack just a little more. Once, those eyes had looked at her like she was his world. Now she was just a problem he needed to erase. Behind him, the elders took their places. Elder Magnus looked troubled. Elder Valeria remained unreadable. And then Lyra stepped forward. Dressed in a deep red gown, she stood slightly behind Rowan but close enough to be seen. Alara's stomach twisted. The message was clear. Lyra was not just present. She was waiting. Waiting for her place. A low murmur spread through the crowd. Alara could feel their eyes burning into her. He straightened her back. If this was the night they would strip her of everything. He would not break in front of them. Rowan's voice rang out across the grounds. Tonight, he began, his tone powerful and commanding, we stand under the gaze of the moon goddess to address a matter that concerns the future of the Silvercrest pack. Silence fell instantly. Even the wind seemed to pause. Rowan stepped forward. 3 years ago, Alara was chosen as my mate and crown Luna of this pack. His voice was steady. Since then she has stood beside me in this role. Alara's fingers curled slightly at her sides. She waited and hoped just a little. But Rowan did not hesitate. However, he continued, his voice growing colder, a Luna's duty is not only to stand beside her alpha, but to strengthen the pack's future. A ripple of tension moved through the crowd. Everyone knew what was coming. Alara's heart pounded loudly. Her wolf pressed against her chest. Please don't let him do this. Rowan's gaze locked onto her. For 3 years, he said, the moon goddess has not blessed this union with an heir. The words echoed. A woman in the crowd covered her mouth. A child clung to his mother. Alara's vision blurred slightly. But she refused to look away. Rowan took another step forward. Silvercrest cannot afford uncertainty. His voice rose. Strength must guide this pack. Not weakness. The word struck her like a slap. Her wolf whimpered in pain. Alara's lips parted. Why Alpha? But Rowan lifted his hand, silencing her. Just like he had done in the council chamber. The humiliation burned deeper this time. Do not speak, he said coldly. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Rowan turned to face the pack. Then, with a voice that held no trace of hesitation, he said, I, Alpha Rowan of the Silvercrest pack, release Alara from her position as Luna. Gasps exploded through the crowd. The words hit Alara like a physical blow. Her heart raced. Why? Why not complete it? Rowan turned back to her. His eyes glowed faintly. This pack will not be bound to a Luna who cannot fulfill her purpose. Alara's chest tightened painfully. Her wolf howled. Say something. Fight, don't just stand here. But Alara couldn't. Her voice was trapped. Her soul was cracking. Elder Magnus stepped forward suddenly. Alpha Rowan, this is not the proper way. Rowan's aura exploded outward, silencing the elder instantly. I have made my decision. The ground seemed to vibrate under his power. No one dared challenge him again. Lyra's lips curved slightly behind him. That tiny smile. Lyra saw it. And something inside her finally snapped. Something fragile inside her broke. Rowan stepped down from the platform. He walked toward her slowly. Each step felt like the ticking of a clock. Until he stood right in front of her. So close she could feel his breath. So close she could remember what it felt like when he used to hold her. But now there was nothing. No warmth or bond. Just cold distance. Alara, he said quietly. Her name sounded different. She forced herself to meet his eyes. Yes, Alpha. The title hurt to say. Rowan studied her face. For a brief second there was something there. Regret. But it vanished just as quickly. You will leave Silvercrest territory before sunrise. The words were final and unquestionable. Exile. Alara's breath caught. Why Alpha? She whispered, her voice trembling despite her effort to stay strong. Please, the bond. Her wolf screamed inside her. He cannot send us away like this. But Rowan's expression hardened. The bond remains. Alara froze. What? His voice dropped. Breaking it now would weaken me before the council chooses a new Luna. The truth hit her like lightning. This wasn't just cruelty. This was strategy. He was keeping the bond not because of her, but because of power. Elara felt something dark rise inside her chest. Pain, betrayal, and something else. Something colder. Rowan stepped back. As of this moment, you are no longer Luna. The words echoed across the grounds. And you are no longer welcome in my pack. Silence. Elara stood there for a long moment alone. Completely alone. Then slowly she lifted her chin. Her eyes burned but no tears fell. If this was how her story ended in Silvercrest, then she would leave with what little dignity she had left. Without another word, Elara turned and began to walk through the crowd, the whispers and the judgment. No one stopped her or spoke to her. Not even once. She walked past wolves she had once protected. Past people she had once called family. Until she reached the edge of the pack territory. The forest loomed ahead. Elara paused for just a second. Her chest ached. Her wolf was silent now. Too broken to even cry. Behind her the pack continued. The torches burned. The voices rose again. As if she had already been forgotten. Elara took one final breath. Then stepped forward. Crossing the boundary. Leaving everything behind. The moment her foot touched the forest ground, a sharp pain tore through her chest. She gasped. Her knees buckled. The bond. It twisted violently inside her. Not breaking or releasing but reacting to something. Something powerful and ancient. A deep, terrifying growl echoed from the darkness ahead. Elara's head snapped up. Her heart pounded wildly. From the shadows, a pair of glowing eyes appeared watching her. Then a voice low and dangerous, and filled with something that made her blood freeze, spoke from the darkness. Interesting. The growl deepened. Why does my mate smell like another alpha's rejection? Chapter 4. The forest went silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence. The kind that warned something powerful had just arrived. Elara's breath caught in her throat as she stared into the darkness. Those eyes, they weren't normal. They burned with something deeper than dominance. Something ancient, something dangerous. Her wolf stirred weakly, then froze. For the first time since she had been cast out. It didn't whimper. It didn't cry, it bowed. Alpha, her wolf whispered faintly. Fear gripped Elara's chest. Not the fear of danger, but the fear of something she couldn't understand. The figure stepped forward. As if the entire forest belonged to him. And perhaps it did. Moonlight spilled through the trees, revealing him piece by piece. Tall, broad-shouldered. Dressed in black that seemed to absorb the light itself. His presence was overwhelming, like standing too close to a storm. A ruthless kind of power. The kind that didn't need to prove itself. Because everyone could feel it. Elara's knees trembled. Her body was already weak from the strain of the bond. But his was something else entirely. The man stepped fully into the light. And Elara's breath stopped. His face was sharp, carved like stone. Dark hair fell slightly over his forehead and his jaw was tight, controlled. But it was his eyes, glowing faintly with a dangerous silver hue. They locked onto her like a predator studying prey or something more. He tilted his head slightly, studying her. Then inhaled slowly. His expression shifted. Just slightly, then something darker. Say it again, he said, his voice low and commanding. Elara blinked. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. Say what? His gaze sharpened. The scent. He took another step closer. Elara instinctively stepped back. Her heart pounded violently. You smell like rejection, he continued, his tone dangerous. Another alpha's mark, torn but not broken. His eyes narrowed. And yet. His voice dropped. You also smell like mine. The words hit her like lightning. Elara froze. No, she whispered. That's not possible. Her wolf stirred again, restless now. The man's jaw tightened. Everything about this is impossible, he muttered. Then his gaze hardened. Name. The single word carried power. A command. Elara swallowed. Elara. He repeated it slowly. Elara. As if testing how it felt on his tongue. Then, look at me. Her body reacted before her mind could. Her eyes lifted. Locked with his. And the moment their gazes connected, something snapped. Not like before. Not like the painful crack of her bond with Rowan. This was different. It surged through her chest like fire. Her breath hitched violently. Her wolf gasped. Mate. The word echoed inside her soul. Alara stumbled backward. No. Her voice trembled. No, no, that's not possible. Her hands shook. I already have a mate. The man didn't respond immediately. His eyes never left hers. But something in his expression changed. The cold edge softened just slightly. Not with kindness, but with understanding. Then his lips parted. Wrong. The single word was quiet, deadly certain. Alara's heart raced. My mate rejected me, she said quickly, her voice breaking. You're mistaken. I do not make mistakes. The air around them seemed to tighten. His voice dropped lower. Especially not about something like this. Alara shook her head, panic rising. This isn't real. Her chest ached. Her wolf stirred violently now. Pulled in two directions. Torn between bonds. I felt the bond, she whispered. The moon goddess chose him. The man's expression darkened. The moon goddess does not bind wolves incorrectly. Alara froze. His words sank deep. Then he stepped closer. Her back hit the trunk of a tree. She had nowhere else to go. His scent surrounded her now. It made her wolf restless in a way she had never felt before, and her heart raced for an entirely different reason. His voice softened just a fraction. What did he do to you? The question caught her off guard. Alara blinked. Her throat tightened. For a moment she didn't want to answer. Didn't want to relive it. But his eyes held hers. She swallowed. He cast me out. A flicker of something dangerous passed through the man's gaze. Why? Alara hesitated. Then the words slipped out quietly. Because I couldn't give him an heir. The man went completely still. Then a low growl rumbled from his chest. Not loud but filled with something terrifying. The ground beneath them seemed to vibrate slightly. Alara, he said slowly. Tell me his name. Her heart pounded. Something in his tone made her hesitate. But she answered anyway. Alpha Rowan of Silvercrest. The moment the name left her lips, the temperature in the forest dropped. The man's eyes darkened. His jaw clenched tightly. Rowan. The name sounded like a threat in his mouth. Then he looked at her again. Really looked at her. Not with cold judgment. Not with disappointment. But with something far more intense. Something that made her breath catch. Wine. The word was quiet but absolute. Alara froze. What? He stepped even closer. If she moved, she would be pressed against him. Her pulse raced. You are mine, he repeated, his voice low and steady. Her heart slammed against her ribs. No, she said quickly, shaking her head. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. His gaze burned into hers. You were never his. The words hit her harder than anything else. Her mind spun. That's not true, she whispered. The bond was forced. Alara's breath stopped. Her wolf went completely silent. The man studied her face carefully. Then spoke again. Tell me, he said quietly, did it feel right from the beginning? Alara opened her mouth to answer. Then stopped. Her thoughts flashed back. To the day she became Rowan's mate. The ceremony, ritual, and the bond. It had been strong and powerful. But something had always felt off. She had ignored it. Believed it was just nerves. But now her chest tightened. The man saw the realization in her eyes. And his expression darkened further. He stole you. The words were filled with quiet fury. Alara's heart pounded wildly. No, she whispered weakly. But doubt had already taken root. The man took a slow breath. Then straightened. His presence became even more overwhelming. I am Alpha Kale, he said. The name alone seemed to carry weight. Even Alara, despite everything, felt it. Blood Moon. The most feared pack in the region. Stories of their alpha were whispered across territories. And he was standing right in front of her. Looking at her like she belonged to him. Kale's gaze softened slightly again. You crossed into my territory, he said. Weak, injured, and alone. His voice lowered. My mate. The word sent a strange warmth through her chest. Confusing and terrifying. I should kill anyone who trespasses. Alara's breath hitched. But you. He paused, then finished quietly. Are not just anyone. Silence fell between them. Alara's mind raced. Nothing made sense. Not the bond, his words, or the way her wolf was reacting to him. Everything felt like it was shifting beneath her feet. Kale studied her for one last moment. Then made a decision. You will come with me. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a command. Alara stiffened. I can't. You can. His voice left no room for argument. You will not survive out here alone. He took a step back. Then extended his hand. The gesture surprised her. It wasn't soft or gentle. But it wasn't cruel either. It was certain. Alara stared at his hand. Her heart pounded. Behind her was nothing. No pack home or mate. Only darkness. In front of her was something unknown and dangerous. But strangely, it didn't feel like rejection. It felt like something else. Something she had never truly felt before. Alara hesitated just for a second. Then slowly she placed her hand in his. The moment their skin touched, the bond surged violently. Stronger than anything she had ever felt. Kale's grip tightened slightly. His eyes darkened. And for the first time, a faint, dangerous smile touched his lips. Good, he murmured. Then his voice dropped. Low and promising. Now let's fix what he broke. Chapter 5. The moment Alara's hand touched Kale's, something exploded inside her. Not pain or the familiar ache of the broken bond she still carried from Rowan. This was different and stronger. It surged through her veins like wildfire, burning through every part of her body. Her breath hitched sharply as her knees nearly gave out beneath her. A gasp escaped her lips. What is this? Her wolf stirred violently, no longer weak. The word echoed again, louder this time. Alara's heart slammed against her ribs. No, she whispered, shaking her head. No, this isn't right. But Kale didn't let go of her hand. If anything, his grip tightened slightly. His silver eyes darkened as he studied her reaction. You feel it, he said quietly. It wasn't a question. Alara tried to pull her hand away. But the moment she moved, the bond snapped tighter. A sharp wave of sensation shot through her chest. She gasped. Her fingers curled instinctively against his. Kale's gaze dropped briefly to their joined hands. Then back to her face. A slow, dangerous realization settled in his expression. Good, he murmured. Alara's breath trembled. Good, she repeated, her voice unsteady. This is not good. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. I already have a mate, she insisted. You said it yourself, the bond isn't broken. At that, Kale's expression hardened. Exactly. The word was sharp and precise. Alara blinked. What does that mean? Kale released her hand slowly. But the connection didn't disappear. It lingered. Like an invisible thread tying them together. You are feeling two bonds, he said. Alara's stomach dropped. That's impossible. It shouldn't be possible, Kale corrected. His voice lowered. But it is. He turned slightly, pacing a short distance away from her. His movements were controlled, but there was tension in them now. Alara, he said without looking at her, when you were bound to Rowan, was there a ritual? Her mind flashed back instantly. The ceremony. Chanting. The elders. The moment their hands were bound together under the moonlight. Yes, she whispered. There was. Kale's jaw tightened. Of course there was. He ran a hand through his dark hair. Tell me everything. Alara hesitated. Her chest still felt like it was on fire. But something in his tone made her speak. It was arranged, she admitted quietly. Our packs needed an alliance. The elders said the moon goddess had blessed the match. Kale let out a low, humorless laugh. Blessed, he repeated. There was nothing amused about it. Alara frowned slightly. What do you mean? Kale turned back to her. His eyes burned now. Not with anger at her. But at something else. Something far away. The moon goddess does not need rituals to bind true mates, he said. Alara's breath caught. She chooses them. His voice dropped. Instinctively. Irrevocably. A chill ran down her spine. You're saying, her voice faltered, that Rowan wasn't? Kale stepped closer again. Each step made her heart beat faster. I'm saying, he said slowly, that what you had with Rowan was not a true mate bond. The words hit her like thunder. Her mind spun. That's not possible, she said quickly. I felt it. The connection. The pull. Because it was forced. Alara froze. Her wolf went completely still. Kale's gaze softened slightly as he watched her. You were bound through ritual, he continued. A powerful one, no doubt. Strong enough to imitate a mate bond. The word echoed painfully in her mind. But not strong enough to erase what already existed, he added. Alara's heart skipped. What already existed? Kale's eyes locked onto hers. Me. The forest seemed to close in around them. Alara's breath became uneven. No, she whispered again. If that were true, I would have felt you before. Kale didn't look surprised. You would have, he said. If the bond hadn't been suppressed. Her chest tightened. Suppressed. Kale nodded once. Ritual bonds like the one used on you can bury a true mate connection. Not destroy it but silence it. Alara's hands trembled. So you're saying, she struggled to speak, that all this time I belonged to someone else? Kale's expression darkened. You never belonged to Rowan. The words were firm and unyielding. Alara felt her chest crack open all over again. Every memory she had with Rowan suddenly felt different. All those moments she thought were real. All those feelings she had trusted. Then why didn't I feel this before? She demanded, her voice breaking slightly. Why now? Kale's gaze flickered briefly to the direction of Silvercrest territory. Then back to her. Because he weakened it. Alara frowned. What? Kale's jaw clenched. Your bond with him is damaged now, he explained. Cracked. Unstable. Her heart pounded. And that allowed the real bond to surface. Silence fell between them. Heavy and overwhelming. Alara felt like the ground beneath her had disappeared completely. Everything she believed. Everything she built her life around. It was all collapsing. Her knees gave out. She dropped to the ground. Kale moved instantly. Before she could fall completely, his arm was around her, steadying her. The contact sent another wave through her body. Stronger this time. Her breath caught. She grabbed onto his shirt without thinking. Her fingers curled into the fabric. Easy, he murmured. His voice was lower now. Alara's chest rose and fell rapidly. I don't understand, she whispered. None of this makes sense. Kale didn't pull away. He didn't let her go either. You don't need to understand everything right now, he said quietly. Her wolf stirred again. This time not in pain but in response to him. Alara's grip tightened slightly on his shirt. And she realized something that terrified her even more than everything else. He felt safe with him. The realization made her pull back slightly. Her eyes widened. No. Kale noticed. Of course he did. Don't fight it, he said. I have to, she snapped, her voice breaking. I just lost everything. Her chest heaved. I pack my home, my mate. He was never your mate. The words were sharp. But not cruel. Alara flinched slightly. Kale's expression softened just a fraction. What you lost, he said more quietly, was a lie. Her throat tightened. And what you're feeling now. He paused. His gaze dropped briefly to her lips. Then returned to her eyes. Is the truth. Alara's heart skipped. The air between them shifted and changed. The tension was no longer just confusion. It was something else. Something deeper and dangerous. Her wolf moved closer to the surface. Alara, Kale said softly. Her name sounded different when he said it. Like it meant something. He swallowed. Yes, Alpha. His eyes darkened slightly at the title. Don't call me that. Her breath caught. What should I call you? Kale held her gaze. Then said quietly. Kale. The way he said it. It wasn't a request. It was something more personal than that. Alara hesitated, then softly. Kale. The moment his name left her lips, the bond flared. Kale's hand tightened slightly on her waist. His control slipped for just a second. And his voice dropped into something darker. More possessive. Good. Alara's heart raced. This was wrong. Everything about this was wrong. And yet it didn't feel wrong. That was what scared her the most. Kale took a slow breath. Then straightened slightly, though his hand remained on her. You're not staying out here, he said. His tone returned to command. You're coming to Blood Moon. Alara hesitated. Fear flickered in her chest. Your pack, they won't accept me. Kale's expression hardened. They will. There was no doubt in his voice. No one in my pack questions what belongs to me. The words sent a shiver down her spine. Not entirely from fear. Before she could respond, a sudden sharp pain shot through her chest. Alara gasped. Her body doubled slightly. The old bond with Rowan. It twisted violently inside her. Kale's eyes flashed with anger. He feels it, he muttered. Alara's breath trembled. What? Kale's jaw clenched. The bond between you hasn't broken, he said. But it's reacting to me. Her heart pounded. Then what does that mean? Kale looked down at her. His expression dark and dangerous. It means, he said slowly. He's going to come looking for you. The forest fell silent again. And for the first time since leaving Silvercrest, Alara realized something. This wasn't over. Not even close. It had only just begun. Chapter 6. The Blood Moon Pack did not sleep, it watched. Alara felt it the moment she crossed fully into their territory. Hidden in the shadows of trees. Behind the flicker of torchlight. Within the silence itself. They were watching her. Not with curiosity or hostility. But with something far more dangerous. Kale walked ahead of her, his presence parting the forest like a blade. No wolf stepped into his path. No one dared to question him. And yet, Alara could feel the tension rising with every step they took deeper into Blood Moon Land. Her heart pounded. This place was nothing like Silvercrest. Silvercrest had been structured. Blood Moon was raw and powerful. Alive in a way that made her instincts sharpen. Her wolf stirred again. As if it finally recognized where it was meant to be. That thought sent a chill down Alara's spine. No, she shook her head slightly. She refused to accept that so easily. Everything was happening too fast. Too wrong and overwhelming. They reached the pack grounds. Alara stopped. Her breath caught. The Blood Moon settlement was unlike anything she had ever seen. Dark stone buildings stood beneath towering trees, their structures carved with ancient markings. Torches burned along pathways, casting long shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. Wolves moved everywhere. Warriors, hunters, and pack members carrying supplies. But the moment Kale stepped into the clearing, everything stopped. Conversations died instantly. Movement slowed. Heads bowed. Alpha. The words spread like a ripple. Alara swallowed. She had never seen power like this before. Not even from Rowan. Kale didn't acknowledge them immediately. His attention remained on her. Stay close, he said quietly. It wasn't a suggestion. Alara nodded. Her body instinctively moved closer to his side. The moment she did, the whispers began. Who is she? She smells strange. That scent. Another alpha. Alara. The last whisper was softer. Recognizing and dangerous. Kale's aura shifted. The air grew heavier. The whispers died instantly. No one spoke again. They reached the center of the settlement. A large stone structure stood ahead. Stronger than the rest. This was his. His territory. His command. Kale stopped. Then turned to face the pack. His voice rang out powerful and absolute. This is Alara. Silence. Kale's next words dropped like a bomb. She is mine. The reaction was immediate. Alara's heart slammed violently. Her wolf stirred again, stronger this time. But the tension around them snapped tight. A warrior stepped forward. Tall and scarred. His presence strong, clearly one of Kale's betas. Alpha, he said carefully, though his voice held tension, she carries another alpha's scent. Kale didn't even look at him. I am aware. The warrior hesitated. But Kale turned, and when his eyes met the warrior's, the entire clearing seemed to freeze. Do you question me? The words were quiet but lethal. The warrior immediately lowered his head. No, Alpha. Kale held his gaze for a moment longer. Then turned away. Good. He looked back at the pack. She stays. There was no room for argument. But the tension didn't disappear. Alara could still feel it. In the way they looked at her. In the way they avoided getting too close. She didn't belong here, and they all knew it. Kale began walking again. Alara. She followed instantly. They entered the stone building. The moment the doors closed behind them, the outside noise vanished. Silence. For the first time since she entered Blood Moon territory, it was just the two of them. Alara exhaled slowly. Her body felt tense, heavy and overwhelmed. Kale watched her carefully. "You're thinking too much." She let out a small, humorless laugh. "I just walked into the most feared pack in the region after being cast out of my own." Her voice cracked slightly. "I think I have a right to think too much." Kale didn't respond immediately. Instead he moved closer. "You're safe here." The words were simple but firm. Alara's chest tightened. That word again. It felt foreign and unfamiliar. She looked up at him. "Why?" The question slipped out before she could stop it. Kale frowned slightly. "Why what? Why do you care?" she asked quietly. Her eyes searched his. "You don't know me. You've never met me. And yet you're claiming me in front of your entire pack." Her voice softened. "Why?" Kale held her gaze, then stepped closer slowly and intentionally. "You're my mate." The answer was immediate and uncomplicated, as if that explained everything. Alara shook her head slightly. "That can't be enough." For a moment Kale said nothing. Then his expression shifted. Not softer but deeper and more honest. "It is." Alara's breath caught. "There is no negotiation in a true bond," he continued. "No doubt. No hesitation." His voice lowered. "When I found you I knew." The certainty in his tone made her chest tighten. Alara looked away. Her heart was racing again. This is all happening too fast. Kale's voice followed her. "It doesn't change what it is." Silence stretched between them. Then a sharp pain tore through her chest again. Alara gasped. Her hand flew to her heart. The bond. The broken one. It twisted violently. Stronger this time and angrier. Kale's eyes darkened instantly. "He's close." Alara's breath trembled. "What?" Kale's jaw clenched. "Rowan." The name sounded like a threat. Alara's stomach dropped. "No." Her voice was barely a whisper. Kale stepped closer. His presence grounding. "He feels the shift," Kale said. "The bond reacting. The connection weakening." Alara shook her head. "He can't find me, can he?" Kale didn't answer immediately. And that silence told her everything. Fear gripped her chest. "What will he do?" she asked. Kale's expression turned cold and dangerous. "He'll come." Alara's heart pounded. "And when he does?" Kale's eyes locked onto hers. Silver burning with something dark and promising. "He won't be taking you back." The air between them shifted again. Alara swallowed. "This will start a conflict." Kale didn't deny it. Instead, a faint, dangerous smile touched his lips. "Good." The word sent a chill down her spine. Kale stepped back slightly, then turned toward the door. "Rest," he said. "You'll need your strength." Alara blinked. "For what?" Kale paused, then looked back at her. His expression calm, but his eyes filled with something far more dangerous. "For what's coming." The door opened, then closed behind him, leaving Alara alone. Alone in a place that wasn't her home. Bound to a man she barely knew. Hunted by the mate who had cast her out. Her chest rose and fell slowly. The bond inside her pulsed. Two forces pulling her in opposite directions. And somewhere deep in her soul, she realized something terrifying. The war hadn't started yet. But when it did, she would be at the center of it. Chapter 7. The night did not bring Alara rest. It brought memories. Rowan's voice. "You are no longer Luna." She lay on the unfamiliar bed inside Kale's stone chambers, staring at the ceiling as shadows danced along the walls. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it again. The crowd, humiliation, and the moment everything she had been was stripped away. Her chest tightened. Her wolf stirred uneasily. But this time it did not feel weak. It did not feel broken. It felt restless. "Get up." Alara frowned slightly. "What?" "Get up," her wolf repeated, stronger now. Confused, Alara slowly pushed herself upright. The room was dimly lit by a single flame. Everything felt quiet. But something inside her wouldn't settle. Her body felt different. Her senses sharper. She could hear things she hadn't noticed before. Footsteps outside. Distant voices and the faint movement of leaves beyond the stone walls. Her breath caught. This wasn't normal. Slowly she stood. The moment her feet touched the ground, a strange surge of energy moved through her body. Her wolf stirred again. "We are changing." Alara's heart skipped. Changing how? Before her wolf could respond, a knock came at the door. Alara turned. Come in. The door opened. A woman stepped inside. Tall, strong, her dark hair was braided tightly, and her amber eyes held a sharp, assessing gaze. Alara immediately recognized her as one of the high-ranking wolves. A beta. I am Naira, the woman said simply. Her tone was neutral. Not warm or hostile. Alara. Alara inclined her head slightly. Naira studied her for a long moment, then stepped closer. The Alpha sent me. Alara's heart tightened slightly. Why? Naira's gaze flickered briefly over her. As of this moment, she said, you are under his protection. Alara stiffened. That doesn't answer my question. Naira didn't react. The pack needs to understand what you are. The words felt sharp. What I am. Naira's expression didn't change. You carry two bonds. Alara's chest tightened. Yes. Naira crossed her arms. That should not be possible. I've been told that already. Naira stepped closer. Then you understand why this makes you dangerous. Alara's breath caught. Dangerous. Naira nodded once. A divided bond can destabilize an alpha. Her eyes sharpened slightly. And if it destabilizes Alpha Kale? She didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Alara swallowed. I would never harm him. Naira studied her face carefully, as if searching for a lie. Good, she said. The word wasn't kind. It was a warning. Because if you do. Her voice lowered slightly. I will be the one to deal with you. Silence fell heavy. Alara held her gaze. For the first time since arriving in Blood Moon, she didn't feel small. Didn't feel weak. Something inside her had shifted. I understand, she said calmly. Naira's eyes narrowed slightly. Then a flicker of approval passed through them. Get dressed, Naira said. Alara blinked. For what? Naira turned toward the door. The Alpha wants to see how strong you are. Alara's heart skipped. Strong? Naira paused then glanced back. Or if Silvercrest broke you completely. The words lingered long after she left. The door closed. Silence returned. Alara stood still for a moment, then slowly looked down at her hands. They were no longer trembling. Her chest rose and fell steadily. Silvercrest had broken her. That much was true. But something else had happened too. Something deeper. It hadn't destroyed her. It had changed her. And now she needed to find out into what. The training grounds were already active when Alara arrived. Wolves moved across the open space, sparring, shifting, testing their strength. The moment she stepped into view, everything slowed. Eyes turned. Whispers began again. That's her. The one the Alpha claimed. She still smells like another Alpha. Alara felt the tension. But this time it didn't crush her. It sharpened her. Naira stepped forward. The Alpha is here. Alara's gaze lifted. And there he was. Kale stood at the far end of the grounds, arms crossed, watching. The moment his eyes met hers, the bond reacted. Her breath caught. Kale's gaze darkened slightly. Then he spoke. Come here. The words carried across the grounds. Alara moved. Step steady. She stopped in front of him. Up close, his presence felt even stronger. More overwhelming. Show me, he said. Alara blinked. Show you what? Kale's expression didn't change. Your wolf. Her heart skipped. I haven't shifted since. She stopped. Since the rejection. Since everything broke. Kale stepped closer. His voice lowered. Then do it now. Alara hesitated. Fear flickered briefly. What if she couldn't? What if she had truly lost everything? Her wolf stirred again. We didn't break. Alara took a slow breath. Then nodded. Closing her eyes, she focused. On the pull inside her. On the energy she had felt earlier. On the bond. No. Not the broken one. The new one. The stronger one. The real one. Something shifted. Deep inside her. Her body tensed. Energy surged. Then pain sharp and sudden. But it didn't break her. It built her. Her breath hitched as her body began to change. Bones shifted. Muscles tightened. Her senses exploded. And then silence. When Alara opened her eyes, the world was different. She stood on 4 legs. Her wolf had emerged. But it wasn't the same. It was larger. Her fur shimmered under the light. Dark with streaks of silver running through it. Gasps filled the training grounds. That's not normal. Her wolf. It's changed. Cale didn't move. But his eyes burned with something intense. Something approving. Something possessive. Alara stepped forward slowly. Feeling the power in her limbs. The strength in her body. The control. Her wolf lifted its head. Cale stepped closer. Good, he said quietly. The word sent a strange warmth through her. Then he reached out. His hand brushed against her fur. The contact sent a sharp surge through her body. The bond flared. Stronger than ever. Her wolf responded instantly. Leaning into his touch. Claiming it and accepting it. The entire training ground fell silent. Because in that moment it was clear. She wasn't broken. She wasn't weak. She wasn't the discarded Luna of Silvercrest anymore. She was something else. Something new. Something dangerous. Cale's voice dropped slightly. You're not his. Alara's wolf stilled. His hand remained on her. You never were. Her chest rose slowly. And for the first time since everything began, Alara believed it. Not because she wanted to, but because she could feel it. Deep in her bones. Deep in her soul. She had not lost everything. She had been taken from where she never truly belonged. And now she was becoming something far more powerful than anyone expected. Something Silvercrest would soon regret losing. Chapter 8. The forest trembled before anyone saw him. A sharp wind cut through Blood Moon territory, carrying a scent Alara knew too well. Her body stiffened instantly. Her wolf growled low in her chest. He's here. Alara's breath caught. No. Across the training grounds, Cale's expression shifted. As if he had been waiting. A distant howl tore through the air. Powerful and commanding. An alpha's call. The entire Blood Moon pack froze. Then chaos moved beneath the silence. Warriors straightened. Claws flexed. Eyes glowed. Silvercrest, someone muttered. Another howl followed. Closer this time. And then they appeared. Dozens of wolves emerged from the forest line, their bodies tense, their movements sharp with purpose. At the front he stepped forward. Alpha Rowan. Alara's chest tightened violently. The broken bond inside her reacted instantly. Her breath became uneven. Memories flooded her mind. The way he used to look at her. The way he had touched her. The way he had destroyed her. Her wolf snarled. Not in longing, in anger. Rowan's eyes locked onto her. And everything else faded. Alara. Her name left his lips like it still belonged to him. Cale stepped forward. The air shifted instantly. Heavy and dangerous. Wine. The word wasn't spoken. But it was felt. Rowan's gaze flickered to Cale. His expression darkened. So it's true, he said coldly. Cale didn't respond. He didn't need to. His presence alone was answer enough. Rowan's jaw tightened. You crossed into my territory and took what belongs to me. The words sliced through the air. Alara flinched. But Cale didn't move or react. Until, you lost her the moment you cast her out. The response was quiet but absolute. The tension snapped. Rowan's aura surged. Power rolled off him like a storm. The Silvercrest wolves behind him shifted, their growls rising in unison. You think you can keep her? Rowan said, his voice sharp with anger. She is still bound to me. Alara's chest tightened painfully. The bond reacted again, twisting violently. Cale felt it. She knew he did. Because his hand moved. Gripping her wrist firm and grounding. The moment he touched her, the storm inside her steadied. Her breathing slowed. Her wolf calmed. Rowan noticed. And something dangerous flickered in his eyes. You're affecting her bond, Rowan said, his voice low. That should not be possible. Cale's lips curved slightly. Many things about her should not be possible. Alara's heart pounded. The two alphas stood facing each other. Power against power. Dominance against dominance. Neither willing to yield. Rowan took a step forward. I didn't come here to argue. His eyes snapped back to Alara. I came for her. The words sent a ripple through the Blood Moon pack. Alara's stomach twisted. Cale's grip on her tightened slightly. Possessive and unyielding. She's not going anywhere, Cale said. Rowan's expression hardened. You don't get to decide that. I already have. The air between them crackled. Alara felt it building. This wasn't just tension. This was war. Rowan's gaze darkened further. Alara, he said, his voice shifting. The voice he used when he wanted something. Come here. The words hit her like a command. The old bond reacted instantly, pulling her forward. Her body tensed. Her foot moved just slightly then stopped. Her wolf growled. No. Alara clenched her fists. Her chest rose and fell sharply. Rowan's eyes narrowed. You felt that, he said quietly. Alara didn't answer. But he already knew. The bond is still there, Rowan continued. You are still mine. The words felt wrong now. Alara lifted her head slowly. And for the first time she looked at him without fear. Without longing or love. No, she said. Her voice was steady. Stronger than she expected. Rowan stilled. The entire clearing seemed to freeze. What did you say? Alara took a slow breath. The pain inside her chest was still there. But it no longer controlled her. You rejected me, she said. The words were simple. But they carried weight. You cast me out. You stood in front of your entire pack and called me worthless. Rowan's jaw tightened. That was for the good of the pack. And now you want me back? Her voice sharpened slightly. A flicker of something unfamiliar passed through Rowan's expression. Frustration. Alara, he said more firmly now. You don't understand what's happening. Then explain it, she shot back. The challenge hung in the air. Rowan hesitated. Just for a moment. Then, the bond is unstable, he said. I can feel it. Alara's chest tightened slightly. But it's still there, he continued. Which means you still belong to me. Kale's grip on her tightened. A low growl rumbled from his chest. Rowan's eyes flickered toward him. You can't claim what is already claimed, Rowan added. Kale stepped forward. Slow and deliberate. His voice dropped. Watch me. The words sent a shock through the clearing. Alara's heart slammed violently. Rowan's aura exploded. The ground beneath them trembled. You want to challenge me? Rowan asked, his voice filled with dark excitement. Kale didn't hesitate. Yes. The blood moon wolves shifted instantly. The Silvercrest wolves followed. The air thickened with tension. War. It was seconds away. Alara. Her name broke through the chaos. She turned. Kale was looking at her. Not at Rowan, the warriors, but at her. His gaze was intense. What do you want? The question stunned her. Everything stopped. Even Rowan. Both alphas were looking at her now. Alara's heart pounded wildly. This wasn't just about power. This wasn't just about territory. This was about her. Her choice and her voice. For the first time she had one. Her chest rose slowly. Her thoughts raced. Fear, pain, memory, and then something else. Clarity. She looked at Rowan. At the man who had broken her. Then at Kale. At the man who had found her. Her answer came quietly but firmly. I'm not going back. The words echoed. Final and irrevocable. Rowan's expression darkened instantly. You don't mean that. I do. The bond inside her twisted again. Painful but weaker and fading. Rowan took a step forward. You're making a mistake. Alara didn't move. No, she said. Her voice didn't shake. Staying would have been the mistake. Silence fell. Then Rowan smiled. But it wasn't warm or kind. It was cold and dangerous. Then I'll take you back. The words sent a chill through the air. Before anyone could react, his aura exploded outward. The ground cracked beneath his feet. War had begun. And this time, there was no turning back. Chapter 9. The clash never came. Because just as Rowan's power surged and Blood Moon warriors lunged forward, a voice cut through the chaos. Stop. The command rang out across the clearing, sharp and ancient, carrying a weight that forced even alphas to pause. Every wolf froze. Even Kale and Rowan. From the edge of the crowd, an old woman stepped forward. Bent, silver-haired, but her presence. It was undeniable. The air shifted around her. The wolves parted without question. Alara, she said softly. Alara blinked. Recognition struck. Healer Mira? The woman who had once tended to her in Silvercrest. The one she had trusted. The one who had always looked at her with something uneasy. Mira stopped between the two alphas. Between war. Between destruction. Her gaze moved from Rowan to Cale, then finally settled on Alara. It has gone too far, she said quietly. Rowan's jaw tightened. You have no authority here, Mira. Mira didn't even look at him. No, she said calmly. But I carry truth. The word landed heavily. Cale's eyes narrowed. Speak. It wasn't a request. Mira nodded once. Then turned fully toward Alara. Pie child. Alara's chest tightened. Something in her tone felt different. Softer and regretful. You deserve to know what was done to you. The world seemed to still. Alara's heart began to race. What do you mean? Mira took a slow breath. Then said the words that shattered everything. You were never infertile. Alara blinked. Her mind refused to process it. What? Rowan stiffened. But Cale saw it. And so did she. Mira continued. Your body was healthy. Strong. Blessed even. Alara's chest rose sharply. No. That's not possible. I tried. You tried, Mira said gently. But you were never allowed to succeed. The words hit harder this time. Alara's breath caught. Her voice trembled. Allowed? Myra's eyes filled with something that looked like guilt. For 3 years, she said slowly, you were given herbs. Alara's heart dropped. Herbs to help you conceive. Her voice lowered. But they did the opposite. The ground beneath Alara's feet seemed to disappear. No. Her hands began to shake. No, that's not true. Mira closed her eyes briefly. I wanted to tell you. Rowan's voice snapped through the air. Enough. The single word carried command. Authority. But for the first time it didn't control the room. Cale stepped forward. His presence surged stronger and darker. Finish, he said coldly. Mira nodded. Then looked back at Alara. The herbs suppressed your fertility. Alara's breath shattered. Her knees nearly gave out. No. Her voice broke. No, I took those willingly. You gave them to me. I was ordered to. The confession echoed loud and final. Alara's head snapped toward Rowan. Her heart slammed violently. No. Her voice dropped into something raw. Tell me she's lying. Rowan said nothing. That silence said everything. Alara's chest cracked open. You did this to me? Her voice trembled. 3 years. 3 years of tears. Of prayers. Of believing she was broken. Rowan finally spoke. His voice was calm. I did what was necessary. The words hit her like a blade. Alara staggered back. Necessary. Her laugh came out broken. You let me believe I was worthless. Rowan's expression hardened. I needed control. The air shifted. Cale's aura darkened instantly. Alara's bloodline is rare, Rowan continued, his voice colder now. Too powerful. Alara froze. What? Mira nodded slowly. You come from an ancient line, she said. One blessed directly by the moon goddess. Alara's heart pounded. I didn't know that. You weren't supposed to, Rowan said. The words were sharp. If you bore a child, he continued, that heir could surpass me. So that was it. He had been afraid of her. Alara's hands curled into fists. You destroyed me because you were afraid? Rowan didn't deny it. I protected my position. The cold truth echoed across the clearing. Something inside Alara finally broke completely. Her wolf surged forward and furious. Her chest rose and fell sharply. You watched me suffer, she whispered. Her voice no longer weak or trembling. You watched me beg the moon goddess for a child, while you poisoned me. Rowan's expression flickered. But it wasn't regret. It was irritation. You were still useful to me, he said. The words sealed his fate. Cale moved fast. Inhumanly fast. His hand shot out, grabbing Rowan by the throat. The ground cracked beneath the force. The entire clearing erupted. Alpha. But Cale didn't care. His eyes burned with pure fury. You touched what was mine, he growled. Each word dripped with violence. You broke her. Rowan struggled slightly, but he wasn't weak. His power surged. The air around them twisted violently. You think you're better? Rowan snarled. Cale's grip tightened. I know I am. Alara stood frozen. Her heart racing. Her world spinning. Everything she believed and endured. It had all been a lie. Not her failure or fault. Never her. Tears burned her eyes. But they didn't fall. Not this time. This time she felt something else. Rage, cold, sharp and clear. Stop. Her voice cut through the chaos. Both alphas stilled. Cale didn't release Rowan. But he looked at her. Elara. Let him go. Her voice was calm. Cale hesitated. Just for a second. Then slowly he released him. Rowan staggered back, catching himself. His eyes snapped to her. Elara, listen to me. Don't. The single word stopped him. Her gaze locked onto his. And for the first time he saw it. You don't get to speak my name like that anymore. The bond between them twisted again. You don't get to stand here and pretend any of this was for me. Her voice grew sharper. You didn't protect me. She stepped forward. Stronger now. You controlled me. Rowan's jaw tightened. You were mine. No. The word cut clean and final. I was never yours. Silence fell. The wind moved through the clearing. Elara took a slow breath. Then said the words that ended everything. I reject you. The bond snapped violently. A sharp crack echoed through her chest. Pain surged, but only for a moment. Then freedom. Rowan staggered. His eyes widened slightly. For the first time he felt it. Elara stood still, breathing heavily. But she didn't fall. She didn't break. She stood unbound, unclaimed and unbroken. And behind her, Cale stepped forward. His presence wrapped around her like a storm. Rowan looked at them both. And finally understood. He hadn't lost her tonight. He had lost her the moment he chose power over her. And now there was nothing left to take back. Chapter 10. The bond was gone. The silence that followed felt different from all the others. Like the world itself had paused to acknowledge what had just happened. Elara stood at the center of it, breathing. For the first time in 3 years. There was no pain in her chest. No pull or invisible chain tying her to someone who had broken her. Only quiet and clarity. Rowan staggered back slightly, his hand gripping his chest as if trying to hold on to something that no longer existed. His eyes locked onto her in disbelief. You broke it, he said hoarsely. Elara didn't respond immediately. She simply looked at him. And in that moment she felt nothing. And that was worse. Yes, she said finally. Her voice was calm and final. Rowan's jaw tightened. You think this is over? The old arrogance crept back into his tone. But it sounded weaker now. Less certain. Elara tilted her head slightly. It's over for me. The words landed cleanly without hesitation. Rowan's gaze darkened. You'll regret this. A faint breeze moved through the clearing. Elara didn't flinch. I already lived my regret, she said quietly. 3 years of it. Silence. Rowan's hands curled into fists. His pride was bleeding. His control slipping. But there was nothing left he could take from her. Nothing left he could use. Because the one thing he had relied on. The bond was gone. And without it he had no power over her. Cale stepped forward. Not aggressively or impulsively, but with a presence that filled the space Rowan had just lost. You should leave. The words were simple. But they carried weight. Rowan's gaze snapped to him. You think this ends here? He asked, his voice low with warning. Cale didn't hesitate. Yes. The confidence in that single word was absolute and unshaken. Rowan looked between them. At Elara. At Cale. And something settled in his expression. Not acceptance but realization. He had lost. Not just the bond or the claim but her. And there was no way to take that back. Not anymore. Not ever. His lips pressed into a thin line. Then without another word he turned. The silver-crest wolves followed immediately, their formation breaking as they retreated into the forest. No challenge or final threat, just retreat. The moment they disappeared, the tension in the clearing broke. The blood moon wolves exhaled. The danger was gone. But something else remained. Something quieter and stronger. All eyes turned to Elara. Not with doubt this time or suspicion. But with something new. Respect. Because they had seen it. She had broken an alpha bond. She had stood between 2 alphas and chosen her own fate. She had survived. Naira stepped forward slowly. Her gaze met Elara's. And for the first time she bowed. Luna. The word echoed. Soft but powerful. Alara's breath caught. She hadn't expected that. Around them one by one, the blood moon wolves followed. Heads bowed. Voices low. Luna. 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 The words spread through the clearing like a rising tide. Alara's chest tightened. But not with pain. With something else. Something warm. Something earned. She looked at Kale. He was watching her. Like he had known this would happen all along. He stepped closer. Then stopped in front of her. Alara. Her name sounded different now. She met his gaze. Her heart was steady. For the first time she wasn't afraid. Kale lifted his hand. A choice. Alara looked at it, then at him. Then slowly she placed her hand in his. The moment their skin touched, the world shifted. The bond didn't crack. It didn't fight, it ignited. Power surged through her body. Stronger than anything she had ever felt before. Her breath hitched sharply. Her wolf surged forward. Mate. The word echoed, clear and final. Kale's grip tightened slightly. His eyes darkened. The wind rose around them. The torches flickered violently. And above, the full moon burned brighter. As if watching. As if approving. Kale's voice dropped. Low and reverent. Now you're mine. But the words didn't feel like a cage. They felt like truth. Alara didn't pull away. He didn't hesitate. Because this time she chose it. I know. The words left her softly. But without doubt. The bond sealed. And somewhere deep within her. Something awakened. Her wolf lifted its head. The blood moon wolves felt it instantly. The shift. The power. The presence. Not just a Luna but something more and rare. Naira's eyes widened slightly. She's different. Kale didn't respond. He already knew. Alara's hand tightened in his. Her chest rose slowly. Then a warmth spread through her. Her breath caught. She froze. Kale noticed immediately. What is it? Alara placed her free hand against her stomach. Her eyes widened slightly. Her voice faltered. Then steadied. I feel something. Kale stilled. The air around them shifted again. Mira stepped forward slowly. Her expression soft. The moon goddess wastes no time, she said quietly. Alara looked at her confused. What do you mean? Mira smiled faintly. Then said the words that changed everything again. You carry life. Then a ripple of energy moved through the clearing. Alara's breath hitched. No. Her hand pressed slightly against her stomach. Her heart raced. But that's not possible. It is now, Mira said gently. Alara looked at Kale. His expression had gone completely still. But his eyes burned with something deeper, powerful and protective. Alara, he said quietly. Her name sounded different again. He swallowed. I was never the problem. The realization hit fully now. Kale stepped closer. His hand moved to hers, resting over her stomach. No, he said. His voice was steady. You were never the problem. Alara's eyes filled slightly. But this time the tears didn't fall from pain. They came from something else. Relief, justice and truth. She looked up at the sky and at the moon. And for the first time, she didn't feel abandoned. She felt chosen. The wind moved gently now. As if the moon goddess herself had whispered. Alara lowered her gaze. Her hand still in Kale's. Her future no longer uncertain. No longer controlled by fear. No longer tied to pain. She had been rejected, broken and cast out. But in the end she had become something far greater. Not the Luna they discarded. But the Luna the moon goddess had chosen. And this time no one would ever take that away from her again. And just like that, the Luna they called Barren became the one chosen by fate. But tell me, if you were Alara, would you have forgiven him? Or would you have done exactly what she did? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you felt her pain or loved her rise, then don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next story, it might be even darker. Even more dangerous. And trust me, you won't want to miss it.